Hi, how are we doing? The purpose of this video is to provide a longer guided meditation. Now, this is mainly designed for those who maybe went through our stress reduction program and also perhaps you took our meditation course. It's not really designed for a beginner. If you're just starting, you may want to watch my previous video, Jim's stress meditation discussion. And practice some of the short meditations for a while. And actually, the short meditations are very beneficial. You're better off perhaps doing 3 or 4, 5 to 10 minute meditations every day rather than doing something longer a couple times a week. It's really the regularity of a practice that seems to be providing the most benefits. Also, in our previous discussions, we've talked about mindfulness. And this type of meditation, mindfulness, is really what it's about. It's about becoming aware of the breath. The breath is the focus. It's our anchor. But we also have sounds. We have sensations in the body. We have thoughts that we become part of a meditation. But part of the trick is that we don't become attached to things. We may hear a sound, but we don't follow it. We don't pay attention to it. We don't, continue to kind of listen to things. We just recognize things, come back to our breath, that sense of presence, that sense of the shift in our feeling. All right. And we also talked in our previous discussion about distraction and the mind wandering. Remember, part of the mind that does not like change, even when it's good for us. And we talked that if you've ever been on a diet and you ever get smoking, a little part of the mind says, well, you could try one cookie, have one cigarette. Now, that part of the mind also distracts us in our meditation. We also, as we sit and we meditate, for most of us, that's the first time we come into contact with the mind. So all of these thoughts and distractions and things that have been going on have really been there, but now we're starting to notice them. Right? When we have these distractions, we just recognize them, come back to the breath. We don't discuss, we don't argue, we don't yell at ourselves, we don't become upset. All right. Many of these distractions are things in the past, and you realize we can't change the past, and you can say it to yourself. There are things about the future that bother us, and we really can't predict the future, and you can say that. If there are things you can take care of, you got to call the doctor, you got to do something, you got to mow the lawn, you got to do whatever, get it done, find it that much less. All right. Another item people are always asking me, well, what's a good book? What's it? I like Full Catastrophic Living by Jon Kabat-Zinn. He has CDs. It's available in the libraries. All right. And finally, as the video ends, I'm going to just let it continue. So when the video ends, you continue your meditation for as long as you like. All right. So at the end, I will not say any goodbyes or whatever. So enjoy the meditation, enjoy your practice. All right, and we'll kind of begin here. So we kind of start by sitting up relatively straight but comfortable, letting your shoulders relax. All right. Get my feet flat on the floor. My hands can be rested on my lap, or I nest one hand on top of the other. I want to avoid interlacing your fingers. All right, it'll make the hands get kind of crampy perhaps later on. I prefer to meditate with my eyes closed, almost slightly squinted, but somewhat closed. Some people do meditate with their eyes open, and this is something you can kind of experiment with. All right. So we're going to sit, and I like to also make a little intention before I meditate. That take a breath and just, this time is for me. This next bit of time I'm going to be meditating is my time. A little bit selfish. Let other things go, job, family, obligations. All right. Get comfortable. Adjust yourself, whatever you need to do. And find your breath. Becoming aware of the breath. Developing that sense of what we call conscious breathing. Knowing that you're inhaling when you are inhaling. Exhaling when you are exhaling. And as we focus on the breath, our focus is kind of light. We're not forcing it here. You may begin to recognize that switch being turned off of the stress response. You may notice the relaxation response beginning to be turned on. You almost know a shift in our consciousness, a shift in the way we feel. Some people actually notice a sense in the forehead, a sense of this sense of presence. And we already be distracted by something. And again, we just recognize it. Oops. Come back. And find the breath. And it's that recognition and coming back of not becoming attached to the thoughts that is important. Because they are just thoughts. You can begin to expand your awareness of the breath. It's what we call mindfulness of the breath. Focus on the exhalation for a few moments. The belly relaxing. The breath rushing out of the nostrils. And then you notice your belly relaxing as you exhale. You can notice your feet anchoring into the floor. Your hips softening in the chair. Any sensations. And kind of turn your focus to the inhale a little bit more. The air rushing into the nostrils. The belly rising. And then we can become aware of that contrast of the inhale and the exhale. Belly rising, the belly falling. Air rushing in, out of the nostrils. But you notice a different place in the nostril for the inhale and the exhale. Tickle, a whoosh of air. Sense of the body rising and falling with the breath. Any sensations associate with the breath. The touch of skin against the clothing as we inhale and exhale. Bring your awareness to the pause at the end of the exhale. Whoever thinks about that. Notice that sense of peace there. Quiet. Presence. Become aware of that space at the end of the inhale. The same quiet, space, presence, and become aware of that. Stay with that. Mind's been wandering, drifting off, shopping, whatever. Just come back. Find your breath. You need to expand awareness into your body. Feet anchoring into the floor. Perhaps one foot more noticeable than the other. You can be aware of that place where the feet touch the floor, that space between the floor and your feet. You can bring your awareness to the back of your legs, resting in the chair, and your hips. And again, that place of touch, that feeling between the chair and the back of your legs, that place of contact. You may notice as you exhale, the belly relaxing. Perhaps the shoulders soften. Do you notice your hands, either in your lap or nesting within each other? That place where the hands touch. Even bring your attention into your hands. And perhaps you can notice how the fingers feel against each other. That sense of touch between the fingers. You may notice some discomfort. And before you have an urge to move, maybe your back is a little tight, take a moment and just take a few breaths and focus on that, on your back or your hip. See what happens. And then if you do need to move, do so mindfully. Maybe you have a slight itch. Become aware of the itch. Don't scratch. See what happens. After a few breaths, perhaps the itch dissipates. And you can do that with other sensations. Again, the mind is distracted, the mind wanders. Just come back to the breath, come back to the body. Maybe you notice your stomach gurgling. You may notice your heartbeat. Any sensations come out of this quiet, this peace that we're sitting in. You may notice the breath actually begins to disappear, your awareness of it. You don't even realize that you're breathing. Just feel the sense of presence, sense of being here and now. As your practice strengthens, you become aware that the distractions and the mind wandering are all temporary. They're not permanent things. We let go of them. We don't attach to them. And over time, they become less and less bothersome. You can expand your awareness to sounds. Loud, soft, but not paying attention to the sound, not naming the sound as car, truck, bell, noisy neighbor, dog, just sound. And trying to become aware of the texture of sound. Loud, soft, near, far, harsh, pleasant. I'll hear the airport and planes go over. And I'll follow the sounds sometimes, but not as an airplane, but the textures. A rumble, a roar, clink, clank. Neighbor mowing the lawn. It can be annoying, but when you're aware of the sound and the sounds within the sound, the motor, the roar, it's a different feeling as you become mindful of those sounds. And you notice the space between the sounds. And again, silence, that peace, that sense of presence. And so our awareness is with whatever is. The breath is our anchor, but also sensations in the body, sound, you become aware of things, you let them go. As you become aware and as you sit, various feelings may come up. Fear, anger, even sadness. When this happens, turn your attention to the physicality of the emotion. Every emotion has a physical connection When we're angry, we feel perhaps our stomach gets tighter, our chest, achy tightness. Your shoulders may tighten up. Find those physical sensations and breathe with them. It may be a tightness, it may loosen, it may be in the chest. Sadness could be in the heart center. Find the sensation, be aware of the sensation, stay with the sensation, and your mind does not become attached to the emotion, and it may dissipate. You can go back to your breath, find your breath as the anchor. And continue. So as our practice develops, we find ourselves, we sit, we find the breath, we relax in the breath, we relax in awareness. Sounds, feelings, body. We learn to let go. We learn not to attach to things. And it's this awareness, this mindfulness that things are not permanent, that we can let things go, that we are in control, that the past is the past. We can't predict the future. It's that sense of settledness, that sense of control, if you will, that we develop in our practice. So we just breathe, relax, stay with the sense of presence and being.